Hello there, come on in. You know, I want to tell you something before we do anything else today. And I hope you'll hear me, however you showed up here, whatever's on your mind, whatever weight you're carrying. You're welcome here, just as you are. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all together. You don't even have to know what you're doing. You just have to be willing to try. And that's enough. That's always been enough. I meet people all the time who tell me they can't do this. They can't paint. They can't create. And you know what I tell them? I tell them they're wrong. Not in a mean way, just they're wrong. Because everybody has something beautiful inside them. Everybody. You just have to give yourself permission to let it out. And maybe today is that day for you. Maybe today is the day you stop telling yourself you can't, and you start finding out what happens when you do. So let's just take a deep breath together, let go of whatever happened before you got here, and let's paint. Today I've got an 18 by 24 canvas here, covered with a nice thin coat of liquid white. Makes everything wet and slippery, so we can move color around, blend things right here on the canvas. Now you can use whatever size you'd like, whatever feels right to you. And we're going to do something real peaceful today, something quiet, maybe a place you'd like to go when the world gets a little too loud. Let's start with some color in the sky. I'm taking my 2-inch brush here and we'll go into a little azure and crimson, just a touch. Not too much, you don't need much to make something beautiful, just a little bit of the right thing in the right place. I'm just tapping the brush to get the paint distributed evenly through those bristles. And now up here in the sky, we're just going to make some very gentle crisscross strokes. Little X's, that's all they are. And we'll put in just a whisper of pink up here. Just a whisper. See, in your world you decide how much pink belongs in the sky. Maybe just a little, maybe more. There's no wrong answer here. Now I'm going to take some Fudio blue without even cleaning the brush. I like Fudio blue. It's warm and soft and it mixes so nicely with everything else. Just like some people you meet in life, they just seem to mix well with everybody. Same little crisscross strokes. We're building an atmosphere up here. That's really all a sky is. It's an atmosphere, a feeling, and you're creating that feeling with every stroke. Sometimes people write to me and they say, Bob, I'm afraid to start. I'm afraid I'll mess it up. And I understand that. I really do. But here's the thing. You can't mess this up. Because whatever happens on this canvas will make it work. Will make it into something. That's not just true in painting, friend. That's true in a lot of things. Let me clean this brush here. We wash these brushes in odorless paint thinner. Much better for you than the regular stuff. And then we just beat the devil out of it. There we go. That's the sound of letting things go right there. Now with this clean, dry brush, I'm just going to blend all that color together, very softly, barely touching. Like you're afraid you might hurt the canvas. That's how gentle we want to be. There, look at that. A sky that took maybe 2 minutes, and it's already starting to feel like something, isn't it? Let's put some water in here, down at the bottom, because water is peaceful. Water reflects things. And I think we could all use a little more reflection in our lives. A little more stillness. Pull from the outside edges toward the center. Outside in. Outside in. Still water is always level. Always. That's just the way of things. You know what's interesting about water? It shows you exactly what's above it. It doesn't try to be something else. It just reflects what is. Maybe there's a lesson in that. Okay, I'm taking some Prussian blue now. Gonna darken these corners just a little bit. Just a touch in each corner. Not too much. We're just creating a little depth, a little shadow, some mystery. Life has corners that are darker than others. That's natural. That's okay. We don't have to light up every single corner all the time. Let me clean this brush, beat it dry, and now we'll blend. Starting from the light and working into the dark. That's usually the best way to do things, I've found. Start with what you can see clearly and work your way into the unknown parts. Beautiful. That's just beautiful. Now let's create some distance here. Some faraway trees, way back there in the mist. For this, I'm taking some titanium white and a little phthalo blue, making a very light, misty blue color. And with just the corner of this 2-inch brush, I'm going to go up here and pull straight down. Straight down. See? Just like that. These are just suggestions of trees, shapes in the fog. You don't see every detail when things are far away. You just see the idea of them, the impression, and sometimes that's enough. Sometimes we spend so much time trying to see every detail, figure out every little thing, that we forget to step back and just see the impression, see the overall feeling of something. Let's add another layer here, make it a little darker, a little closer, same technique, just a darker value. This creates depth, one layer behind another, behind another. That's how we build a world, right? Layer by layer, day by day. There we go.
I'm just going to tap the bottom of this to create that mist effect, make it nice and soft, fuzzy, mysterious. You don't have to understand everything. You really don't. Some things can just be misty and soft and mysterious, and that's perfectly fine. All right, now we need something with a little more strength to it. Let's mix up a dark. I'm taking some midnight black, some Prussian blue, a little bit of sap green, Van Dyke brown. Just mixing them all together, getting a nice rich dark. Darkness isn't bad, you know. Darkness makes the light look brighter, makes it mean something. Without the dark, we wouldn't appreciate the light half as much. I'm going to take my fan brush here, load it up good on both sides. And now back in this middle area, let's put in some trees. These are a little closer than those misty ones. Still not in the foreground, but close enough that we can see their trees. Just using the corner of the brush, barely touching. Let it do the work for you. The brush wants to make trees. You just have to let it see how easy that is. You're not forcing anything. You're just allowing it to happen. There's a difference between forcing and allowing, and sometimes the allowing way works out a whole lot better. Maybe put a few more right here. However many feels right to you. There's no rule that says you need exactly 7 trees or 12 trees. You put in as many as your heart tells you to put in. Now these trees need reflections, because everything that exists casts a reflection, whether we see it clearly or not. I'm taking that same dark color with my 2-inch brush, and I'm just going to touch down here and pull straight down into the water. Go straight down. The reflection is always directly below the object. That's just physics. That's just the way light works. And then, very gently, I'm going to pull across, just barely. This makes the water look like water, makes it look wet. Look at that. Instant reflections. That's simple. You know, I think about reflections sometimes. How we reflect what we're around. How children reflect what they see in their parents. How we reflect the energy of the people we spend time with. We're all like water in that way, aren't we? Reflecting what's around us. So be careful what you stand next to. Let me get some lighter color here. A little bit of liquid white right on my knife, and I can just barely touch into these reflections and create ripples. See, little horizontal strokes. These are ripples in the water. Movement, because even still water has some movement. If you look close enough, nothing in nature is completely still. There's always some little bit of movement, some little bit of life, and that's what makes it beautiful. All right, let's bring this into the foreground now. This is where we're standing, where we are right now. I'm going to mix up another dark here. Some black, Prussian blue, a little bit of alizarin crimson, getting a nice rich dark, and with my 2-inch brush, I'm just going to roughen the basic shape of some land here, some ground. Just the corners of the brush, just roughing in the shape. We'll refine it later. Right now we're just getting the idea down, the concept. A lot of times in life we just need to get the concept down first, rough it in. We can refine it later, we can make it prettier later, but first we just need to get it down. Now while I've got this dark going, let's put in a big tree over here. A strong tree, an old tree, the kind of tree that's been there a long time and isn't going anywhere. I'm just using the corner of the 2-inch brush and I'm laying in the shape of this trunk, big and strong, curves a little bit. Trees aren't perfectly straight. Nothing in nature is perfectly straight. And thank goodness for that. Perfection is a little boring, don't you think? Let's have some branches coming off here. Just the suggestion of branches. We'll put leaves on these in a minute so we don't need to see every single branch. Just enough to know they're there. And maybe another tree right here. A friend for this one. A little bit smaller. Every big strong tree needs a friend. Everybody needs a friend. There. Now we've got 2 trees, and they're keeping each other company. Let me get my fan brush here. Load up some of this dark color. And I'm going to start making the leaf masses. These are deciduous trees. Oak or maple, something like that. So they've got full round masses of leaves. I'm just pushing the brush into the canvas, not painting the leaves, just pushing the brush and letting it do what it wants to do. See, the brush knows how to make leaves. The brush has been making leaves longer than you've been alive. Just keep pushing in these little masses and think about shape. Think about form. Some areas are fuller than others. Some areas are thinner. That's natural. That's how trees are. You know, sometimes when I'm painting like this, I think about how much time we spend trying to control every little thing, trying to make every little thing perfect, trying to force outcomes. But nature doesn't work that way. Nature is loose. Nature is wild. Nature just does what it does, and somehow it all works out. It all looks beautiful. Maybe we could learn something from that. Let me mix up a highlight color now. Some cadmium yellow, little sap green, little bit of white. This is going to be sunlight hitting the tops of these trees. This is my favorite part. This is where everything comes alive. I'm taking this same fan brush, getting some of this light color on there, and I'm just going to tap the tops of these leaf masses, just the tops, just where the sun would hit. See? Just like that. Light on top, dark underneath, that's how light works. That's how we create the illusion of 3 dimensions on a flat canvas, but you don't put light everywhere. If you put light everywhere, you don't have light anymore. You just have brightness. Light only means something when there's dark to compare it to. There we go. Look how those trees just came alive. 2 minutes ago they were flat, and now they're round. They're real. They're something you could walk up to and touch. That's the magic of light and shadow. Let me put some bushes down here at the base. Little undergrowth. I'm using my 1-inch brush now, just loading it up with this yellow-green color, and I'm just pushing it straight into the canvas and pulling it to one direction. Straight push and pull in one direction. This creates grass and bushes and all kinds of foliage. Just push and pull, push and pull. Let the brush do the work. You don't have to muscle your way through this. You don't have to force it. Just guide it gently. Just suggest where it might want to go and then let it go there. I'm going to add a little path right here, a little way to walk back into this scene. Because I think if you painted a place this beautiful, you'd want to be able to walk into it, wouldn't you? Taking some Van Dyke brown with my knife, just cutting across, making a little trail that winds back through here. It curves a little. Paths always curve, life always curves. If you could see the whole path from beginning to end all at once, it'd probably scare you, but you can't. You can only see the next little curve, and that's okay. That's actually a blessing. Let me highlight this path a little. Some white, a little bit of ochre, just barely touching the tops. Just where the light hits, there. Now we've got a path we could walk on, and maybe that path leads somewhere wonderful, or maybe it just leads deeper into the woods. Either way is fine. I'm going to put some little flowers along this path. Just some little touches of color, little bits of joy. Taking some bright red on my fan brush, just the tip. And I'm just going to tap in some little spots of color down here, little red flowers. Don't know what kind, don't really matter. They're just happy little flowers living their life down here by the path. You know, it's the little things that make life beautiful. It's not the big dramatic moments all the time. Most of the time it's the little things. The little spots of color, the little unexpected moments of beauty. Let me put in some foreground grass here. Taking some dark green, just using the fan brush, and I'm pulling upward. Quick little strokes, pulling upward. This creates the illusion that we're standing right here. This is as close as it gets. This is where we are. And then I'll go back with some lighter yellow-green and add some highlights to this grass. Same technique, just pulling upward. Just suggesting that the sun is hitting this grass too. Everything gets touched by light, eventually. Even the darkest corners. You just have to wait for the right angle, the right time of day. All right, let me add a few little details here. Little twigs, little sticks. I'm taking my liner brush, this little brush with the long bristles, and I'm thinning down some brown with paint thinner until it's real thin, almost like ink. And then I roll the brush, roll those bristles. This brings it to a very sharp point. Now I can come in here and add these little delicate lines, little branches, little twigs poking out. See how thin those are? You can make these as thin as a hair, just barely touching the canvas. These little details are what finish a painting, what make it feel complete. But you gotta wait until the end to put these in. If you put them in too early, they get lost. Timing matters. In painting. In life, timing matters. Maybe a few little indications of stones down here by the water, just a couple little flicks with my knife, creating some texture, some interest. There, that's nice. You know, I've been doing this a long time now, and people sometimes ask me, Bob, do you ever get tired of painting trees and water and mountains? And the answer is no, because it's different every single time. Every canvas is different, every tree is different, and more importantly, I'm different every time I paint. I'm not the same person I was yesterday. None of us are. So even if I painted the exact same scene twice, it would come out different, because I'm different, because the moment is different. And I think that's worth remembering when you're going through something hard, when you're going through something that feels like you've been through it before. You're not the same person you were last time. You've learned, you've grown, even if you don't feel like you have. Let me add just a touch more light here on this main tree. Just a little more highlight to make it really pop. Make it really feel like the sun is hitting it. There. That's better. All right, I think we're getting close here. Let me step back and look at this for a minute. You know what I see when I look at this? I see a place of peace. A place where you could go and just breathe. just be. No expectations, no pressure, just you and the trees and the water and the light. And I hope when you paint you find a little bit of that peace, because that's really what this is all about. It's not about making a perfect painting. It's about spending some time in a peaceful place, even if that place only exists on a canvas. Even if it only exists for an hour or two while you're painting. That's enough. That's valuable. That's worth something. Let me just add a couple more little touches here. Maybe a few more little flowers over on this side. Gotta balance things out a little bit. Just a few spots of yellow this time. Different colors. Life has different colors, different moments, different feelings, all mixed together. And maybe just one or two more little branches poking out of this tree here, just to make it feel a little more alive, a little more real. There, that's good. You know, there's a point in every painting where you have to stop, where you have to say, this is enough, this is done. And that's hard sometimes, because there's always something more you could add, always some little detail you could refine, but at some point you have to let it be what it is. You have to accept that it's finished. And maybe that's true for other things too. Maybe at some point we have to stop trying to fix ourselves and just accept that we're finished the way we are, that we're enough the way we are. All right, I think this one's finished. Let me sign it here. There we go. I really hope you've enjoyed spending this time with me today. I hope you picked up your brushes and painted along, or if you didn't, I hope maybe next time you will. Because you can do this. You really can, and even if you think you can't, I'm telling you right now you can. I believe in you. And I hope you'll start believing in you too. Remember, there are no mistakes here, only happy accidents, only opportunities to make something different than what you planned. And sometimes different is better. So until next time, from all of us here, I'd like to wish you happy painting, and God bless, my friend.